Free ad-supported streaming television, or FAST, has been taking the entertainment industry by storm as more and more people turn to free streaming services such as Paramount's Pluto TV, Fox's Tubi, and Amazon's Freevee over their paid-for counterparts like Netflix, Disney Plus, or Paramount Plus. I'm Chibeze, and this is Cels and Circuits, so let's find out what role animation plays in this free streaming phenomenon and what ways you can get your animation fix without paying a penny or sailing the high seas. Let's do this. With some paid subscription services losing subscribers after simultaneously raising prices and removing fan-favorite TV shows and movies, you can probably see why FAST services are gaining traction, at least here in the United States. You don't have to pay anything to access these services, and there's a vast library of TV shows and movies that you can choose from. The only downside is that you have to see ads along with the programming you choose to watch, but hey, they gotta make their money somehow. Anyway, what does this have to do with animation? Well, for some of the companies that participate in the FAST market, animation adds variety to existing on-demand and live TV catalogs or serves as a dedicated niche for people who like that sort of thing. Some companies have entire FAST channels dedicated to animation, while other companies are happy licensing out their animated series and movies to FAST service providers and channels. Let's take a look at what companies, both big and small, are doing in the FAST space when it comes to animation and what they could do to maximize their presence in the space. Let's start with Disney. Disney, when it comes to animation, is non-existent in the FAST space as there are 0 FAST channels dedicated to Disney's animated catalog. That's pretty disappointing, but not surprising, as Disney already owns the second most popular paid streaming service in the world, Disney Plus. If people are already happy paying for your programming, you probably wouldn't offer a lot of it for free. Disney does, however, have a FAST service, but the problem with it is that it's shoved into the ABC app as part of their unlocked channels, which I doubt many people would go to for free movies and TV shows. Still, if Disney wanted to, it could offer a FAST service built on BAM tech, the same tech stack that powers Disney Plus and ESPN Plus, with a solid animation catalog to boot, and I think people would definitely watch it, especially with the amount of IP that Disney owns. Next, let's talk about Paramount. Paramount owns Pluto TV, which I would say is the best FAST service for watching live TV. The Paramount first-party FAST channels give you that cable-like experience without a cable subscription, which, in my opinion, is the best experience for a FAST channel to provide. Pair that experience with animated programming from Nickelodeon, MTV, and Comedy Central, and you can be on a nostalgia trip for hours and hours thinking that you're watching a network that you paid to access. Nickelodeon has its main Pluto TV channel as well as offshoots such as their 90s Kids, Totally Turtles, and their preschool channels, all of which show various Nick and Nick Jr. animated series. Then there's Comedy Central, which has its own main Pluto TV channel, which airs older seasons of South Park as the only animated series on that channel. as well as the Comedy Central Animation channel, which also shows South Park, but also plays some MTV animated series like Daria and Beavis and Butthead. There are also plenty of third-party fast channels for other forms of animation, like subtitled anime and classic Western cartoons on Pluto TV. I do hope that the animated series that are being removed from Paramount Plus around the time that this video releases find a new home on Pluto TV. Next up, let's talk about Warner Brothers Discovery, or WBD for short. This section of the video might turn into a rant, so I do apologize for that in advance. On one hand, in terms of on-demand fast programming, Warner is actually doing pretty good, as there is a decent selection of Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, and Tom and Jerry TV shows and movies on Tubi. On top of that, Warner and Tubi just announced a deal that brought select DC animated movies to the service, which means that you no longer need to have a Max subscription to access those movies. On the other hand, in terms of animation on live fast channels, Warner Brothers Discovery is nowhere to be found, which is really frustrating to someone like me who likes a lot of Warner's animated catalog. On social media, I asked about which brands people think of when they think of Warner Brothers. Most people said Looney Tunes, which is the most obvious answer, but other people included things like DC, which has dominated animated superhero storytelling for the past 2 decades at this point. This brings me to the question of why there aren't fast channels dedicated to things like Looney Tunes, DC's animation, or even other brands and franchises like Hanna-Barbera, Tom and Jerry, Cartoon Network, and Adult Swim. Yet there are so many Warner branded fast channels dedicated to Discovery content which casual people don't even associate with Warner Brothers. One of the only reasons I can think of for why that is that the current executive leadership of Warner Brothers Discovery comes from the Discovery side of the company, so there could be some bias toward programming from that side of the company. Another reason I can think of is that Warner Brothers Discovery is planning to launch its own fast service titled WBTV, which is taken from international TV channels of the same name. Maybe WBD is saving its animation-focused fast channels for its own first-party free streaming service. In fact, WBD executives have previously alluded to providing animation, particularly the animated series that got purged from HBO Max back in 2022, through a first-party fast service. But at the same time, WBD executives have lied before, so I wouldn't blame you if you took the "I'll believe it when I see it" approach with this company. In any case, I do hope more WBD animated programming comes to fast services soon, whether in on-demand form or live TV form, the latter of which could really use some representation from animation. Next, let's talk about Tubi. Remember earlier in the video when I said that I think Pluto TV is the best free streaming service for live TV? Well, I think Tubi is the best streaming service for on-demand TV shows and movies, with plenty of representation from animation. No matter what your animated tastes are, it seems like there's something for everyone. There's kids animation, like titles from Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, and Tom and Jerry, as I mentioned before, as well as other kids programs. For adults, there's a whole lot more, like the DC animated movies, some older adult animated series, and bar none, the best Japanese anime catalog on a free streaming service, especially if you like subtitled anime. If you like dubbed anime, you can still find something you might like. Some dubbed anime movies that I liked on Tubi are the original Ghost in the Shell movie, as well as the Cowboy Bebop movie, which, despite being licensed by Sony Pictures here in the US, isn't streaming on that company's paid anime streaming service, Crunchyroll. Weird. Anyway, some dubbed anime series I like watching on Tubi are Afro Samurai and Blue Submarine No. 6. I do hope more dubbed anime will be added to the service, as they are currently a bit harder to find than their subtitled counterparts, but once you do find one, you might like it. Let's talk about Plex next. When it comes to animation, Plex seems to focus on quantity rather than quality, which is the exact opposite of Tubi, which I talked about earlier. There's a lot of animation on demand on Plex, but most of it is filled with animated series and movies that you may not want to watch compared to what else is out there on other services. That's not to say that there isn't good animation on Plex, as there definitely is, but you might have to do some digging to find it. As far as live channels go, Plex is not bad when it comes to animation. It has some channels for kids' cartoons as well as some anime for adults. Speaking of anime, Plex is the only fast service to host the Anime X High Dive channel, which has select programming from Sentai Filmworks. I hope that particular channel expands to other services so more people can watch it. Next up, let's talk about the Roku channel. Despite its name, the Roku channel isn't exclusive to the Roku platform, as it has an app for most major TV platforms like Google TV, Fire TV, and Apple TV. The Roku channel actually surprised me in terms of animation. Sure, for kids there's the typical fare of older Saturday morning cartoons, as well as the toyetic anime like Pokemon, Beyblade, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, which you can find on other fast services. For adults who are into anime, however, there's a catalog that could give Tubi a run for its money, especially for people who like English dubbed anime. Series like Naruto, Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, and movies like Redline are all available in English on the Roku channel. If you're into English dubbed anime, the Roku channel might be the best fast service to check out. Let's talk about Amazon Freevee next. Amazon Freevee is usually touted among people as one of the best fast services, right alongside Tubi and Pluto TV. But the way Freevee treats its animation is a mixed bag. On one hand, the anime catalog is pretty good and can rival the Roku channel and Tubi depending on who you ask. On the other hand, good luck finding non-Japanese animation on Freevee, as there is no animation or adult animation category, or even a kids and family category, which feels like a missed opportunity. There is a category for their anime though. Now that's not to say that there aren't any Western animated series on Freevee, as there definitely are, but you really have to dig into the service to find them. Hopefully, Amazon acquires more Western animated series for kids and adults and implements some changes to its UI to allow for its animation catalog to stand out. Sticking with big tech, let's talk about the platform you're probably watching this video on right now, YouTube. YouTube, owned by Google, has a fast service hidden within the movies and TV section under the free with ads subsection. YouTube's animated catalog is also a mixed bag. There are very good animated movies on YouTube like Corpse Bride, Monster House, Rango, and The Secret of Nim, as well as Nickelodeon movies like Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, the Rugrats movies, and Barnyard. However, there aren't a whole lot of animated series on YouTube, especially animated series that you can't find on any other service. The anime catalog is pretty slim too, with the only English dubbed anime being Ghost Stories, and most of the subtitled anime catalog is from one provider, Viz Media. Granted, those Viz Media titles are some of the most influential titles in anime history. Still, it would be nice if YouTube had a more diverse animation catalog. There are also no free live channels on YouTube, even though its parent company, Google, has fast channels of its own. However, the problem with Google's fast channels are that they are exclusive to Google TV and Android TV devices, and that almost none of those channels have any animation on them. Hopefully, Google moves those channels to YouTube, making them multi-platform in the process, and adds some animation channels in the mix as well. Finally, let's talk about some of the smaller players in the fast space. There's FilmRise, which has its kids channel that shows series like Slug Terra, Camp Lake Bottom, Braceface, and others, as well as an anime channel that shows some of the various Yu-Gi-Oh series, some of the Loop on the Third series, and Sonic X, among other series. Then there's Sony, who has some Crunchyroll titles on demand on Tubi, as well as anime movies on other services. They also have the free Crunchyroll Live channel on Freevee and the Roku channel app, which I did an entire video on, so go check that out after this video. There's Sentai, which has the Anime X High Dive channel on Plex that I mentioned earlier. Then there's Hasbro, which has Transformers animated series available on almost all fast platforms. And I can't forget Retro Crush, which has classic anime like Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water, and Cat's Eye, both on demand and as a live channel across multiple fast platforms. I'm sure there are other companies whose content I forgot to mention, but the point of this video is that there's a lot of animation out there for you to watch for free without having to pirate it. And that's it for this video, so let me know what you think about animation in the fast space. What animated series do you like watching on fast platforms? What shows do you want to see on fast platforms? And which fast platforms are the best places to watch animation? Leave those opinions in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you want to see more videos. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Cels and Circuits, and follow me on social media at Cynical Elysian. Thank you for watching Cels and Circuits, where tunes and tech intersect. Until next time, I'm Chibeze, signing off.